Okay, today I'm going to talk just a brief um, text or title video. In this case, a kind of a common way of doing text and titles is to do, kind of a window with the video playing through it. So I kind of want to talk about that again. I have this kind of window type of video, and you see the text with the video playing through the letters. Okay, so how do we do that? So this is just basically a Photoshop file, a kind of a stencil, or sometimes referred to as a mask. And so this is all pretty much done in Photoshop. It's just a Photoshop image. So if I go over to Photoshop, and it doesn't have to be black, I just made it black. You'll notice basically I have a black area with the text cut through to a transparent. So if you zoom in, you can see you get your checkerboard pattern that's transparent inside of Photoshop, which is the black on the outside. So we don't even have to use black. I don't know. I'm thinking white might even be better, or a light color. So I'm going to start with a new one here for you, and then I'm going to fill it in. Again, when I'm making the new, I make sure I choose the appropriate size for my video. I'm using the 1920 by 1080 dimensions because that's the size of my video footage. Next thing I'm going to do is use the well, I'm going to fill it in with a color. So I'm going to fill this in with a color. I'm going to choose white. So I'm going to go under File, Fill. And first time I did black, so I'm going to try white this time. So we fill it in with white. Next I'm going to put some text on the screen that I can then select and use to cut out the hole. I'm just going to use the text tool and choose a font. I was using this crazy font that I downloaded off the internet. I might use something different. Something kind of bold and simple here. Let's just choose a font that's kind of sans serif, something that's kind of bold for having video that comes through. I'll use this simple. Yeah, that's not heavy enough. Something bold and heavy. There we go. Something bold and heavy. And I'm going to click and I'm going to type my text. Do it all caps. And then I'm going to make it kind of big, scale it a little bit. Again, using the just the move tool here to scale it, kind of big, kind of big. So next thing I want to do is I want to select this text and then cut a hole through this layer underneath it. So in the old days of Photoshop, I used to hold down the Option key and click on a layer, and it used to select everything in that layer, and I can't. Oop, I just duplicated it, and I can't get that to work anymore. No, there's a mask on there. There used to be an easy way of selecting everything in a layer with just holding down a key on the keyboard, and it doesn't seem to work anymore. So I've been struggling how to select this text. I guess we could select outside the text using the magic wand tool and make sure we select inside. So you need to get a selection. In this case, I'm just going to use the magic wand tool, click outside my text, hold on the shift key to select inside my text here. So I select all the little holes inside there. Again, I'm holding the shift key down to select inside there. So again, you need to have your text selected so that you can cut a hole through the piece that's underneath it. So after I put my text in, I use the magic wand tool, clicked outside the text, and I hold the shift key down and click inside where the openings would be. Then I'm going to reverse my selection because I select everything other than the text. I was selecting everything outside the text, but I really want to select the text. So I'm going to reverse my selection by going under Select Inverse, and now that text is finally selected. So once I have the text selected like this, I can then go and cut a hole in the background there. So I'm going to choose my white layer or my bottom layer, and I'm just going to hit the delete key on the keyboard, and then I can remove this text layer, this one where the text is above here. I'm going to just trash that layer there, and you'll notice I have my checkerboard pattern in there. Some other things you might want to do so that the video stands out against the background there, would maybe put a stroke around the outside A stroke is just a line under the effects here. At the bottom of the layer here, you can put a stroke, and that'll give you at least a little bit of a line around your letters so they stand out a little bit more. Again, so what we're basically doing is cutting a hole in a white layer using text so that you have your checkerboard pattern back there. Then the last thing I'm going to do is just save it. The format I would tend to save this in would be probably PNG. PNG would probably work in iMovie or in any kind of video editing application. The advantage of using the PNG, of course, is it'll keep the transparency that you see here. So if I go under File, Save As, I can choose the PNG option as the format, and I'm going to call this white text. And don't use any compression in here. Say none, none. If you use compression, it'll probably be corrupt. I've run into that a lot. So again, I saved it as a PNG format. So if I go and I bring it into my video, again, I'm still doing my driving in Bogota kind of video example here. I'm going to import my white text in there, and I'm going to put it in my timeline. Let me delete the one that's in there. So again, I have basically some driving footage here, as I normally do. And I can take that video footage that I just, or that picture, that text I just made, and I can drag it over top of my video, and you can see the video actually playing through the letters, because there's a hole in there. So you can see the video and the layers. In addition, if you want, using certain techniques, you can actually scale it. I can use the effects control, and in this case I'm using Premiere is what I imported it in, but again, I'm sure this would work in iMovie or something like that. I can then go and scale it, maybe add some keyframes, and as it gets towards the end of the text here, maybe scale it using the scale here, so it scales, and maybe I'll even choose position. A little bit of position so that it kind of centers as it's going away. So you can have it kind of fade away. There we go. So again, I have some text with video footage playing through it, and then using a zoom or scaling of some kind, I can have the footage kind of scale as the video plays through. A very easy kind of technique to do, and I could have it fade on and things like that. There's a bunch of different options I can. But the most important thing is to cut a hole through some kind of area inside of Photoshop. You get your transparent area, and saving it as a PNG and then putting it over top of your video footage is the easy way to make a title.